believe it or not, everybody was on board. My husband was definitely on board. Like, he never questioned anything. He was always with it.
Wow.
My mother, father, everybody was so supportive. So I never had any pushback of people saying, you need to go into the hospital. This is not safe. Nobody ever said that to me. So it was extra confirmation that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I had friends that said, girl, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Like, I could never do that. No medication, nothing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was super supportive.
That's incredible. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I am here today to talk to you about something that I'm super passionate about and love so much, and constantly kind of probably making people think I'm crazy about. But Shayla maybe is a little bit like me and is a home birth advocate, natural birth advocate. She's also an entrepreneur, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the tools that she offers for moms who have chosen home birth, and also really kind of put your mind at ease about home birth. I know there can be some stigma around it in terms of, just safety and feeling kind of foreign and crazy and super hippie, but really is, I think, rising in popularity for a lot of different reasons. And I think Shayla will hit on a lot of those in particular. But Shayla, before we get started in what you do now, would you share with us sort of where you've come from in terms of sort of your own personal healthcare experience? And I know you did have home birth, so talk to us a little bit about those as well and how you came to that.
Okay, sure. So I had 2 home births. My first home birth was in 2020, and the second home birth was in 2018. And I actually ended up having a water birth with the second one, which was amazing, which was super cool and fun. And I had such an amazing experience. And I know it may sound cliche to some people, but I really enjoyed my birthing experience. And so that's why I created Malawi's House.
I love it. So that's so funny because I'm glad that you enjoy your experience. And I look back and I, love my experiences. I know a lot of women don't feel that way about their birth experience. And in fact, I remember as a child growing up, totally afraid of having babies, terrified, just, had this like movie vision of what it was going to look like. My water's going to break and then I'm going to scream and it's going to be terrible. All of those things. And even the women in your life, like, I feel like tell you, oh, you don't even know what you're about to go through, right? Like this traumatic experience, we were all just like waiting to happen.
Yes.
But I feel the same way. I had these beautiful birth experiences. And so it was, like I have a different story to tell, which kind of flipped that whole thing on its head. So how did you even decide? I don't feel like home birth is kind of, in the limelight. So how did you come to that place that you decided, I'm going to skip the hospital. I'm going to do this at home?
Yeah. So I really don't know, Lacey, because seriously, I don't know, maybe it was a spiritual thing that just came upon me that I always wanted to have a natural experience when I decided to have a family. That's as far as with eating healthy, exercising, getting my mind right, body and spirit right. And I didn't have the experience of seeing like my mom birth naturally. She did birth naturally, but in the hospital, but like have home births and family line doing that. I never seen that before.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just always knew I didn't want to go into the hospital. It was so weird because I had friends that had babies already and that birthed in the hospital. That was just the thing. It was never any talks about having a home birth. Never. So I really can't tell you where this came from of why I wanted to do this. It was just, I can maybe honestly just say it was a spiritual thing for me.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's awesome, because I think that sometimes when the culture doesn't like do it for you, you kind of have to come to it and be willing to look outside the box and be like, that's a better fit for me than what's happening right here. Exactly. So how did people feel about it when you made the decision to home birth? Was your father on board? Was your family on board? What did it look like for everyone involved?
Believe it or not, everybody was on board. My husband was definitely on board. Like, he never questioned anything. He was always with it.
Wow.
My mother, father, everybody was so supportive. So I never had any pushback of people saying, you need to go into the hospital. This is not safe. Nobody ever said that to me. So it was extra confirmation that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, I had friends that said, girl, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Like, I could never do that. You know, no medication, nothing.
Right.
So, yeah. Everybody was super supportive.
That's incredible. I'm really surprised to hear you say that. For me, it was definitely a little bit of like, my mom was not really on board. She's like, why are you doing this to me? My dad was more on board. He realized that, you know, in the history, his mom was born at home, and honestly, I think he tells the story that the midwife saved her life because she was born not breathing, and the midwife resuscitated her. And I think that's the story. I might be remembering it incorrectly.
Oh, wow.
Someone in my family history that had that experience, and so it was interesting, the contradiction between my family. And anyway, my husband was kind of like, but he generally thinks, you know, well, if you're having the baby, I guess you get to decide. But I love that you didn't have any come up against that.
I didn't.
It's your path. It was meant to be.
Yes, it was meant to be. And I think that's why, you know, the way Malawi's house is formed has felt so natural. It felt like it's part of like purpose.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like to me.
Yes. Well, and so many need what you're doing, and the support that you bring to the table is really, really, I think, a needed thing this day and age. Moms feel so incapable of sort of making decisions for themselves, so fearful around birth, and even that support you offer postpartum as well. It's moms kind of get thrown out the door. Here's your baby, have fun, you know, like that's
exactly.
We're on our own, and to either trust the system and let it unfold on its own. Okay, so you had two happy and healthy home births. Can you describe to me your births a little bit? Were they long labors? Were they painful, back labor, anything like that? Or were they just pretty straightforward? And
no, I had my first pretty straightforward. Maya, please. Mommy is on the phone, please. I'll be right with you once I'm done, okay? I'll give you all the attention, okay? Let's go to your room. You can go ahead and play, okay? All right, thank you. Okay. Well, with that one, she was 36 hours.
Wow.
Yes, I had 36 hours with my first birth. Mm-hmm. You don't know what to expect when you're about to give birth in general, whether you're birthing in the hospital or birthing at home. You never know what to expect. People can tell you all the stories they want to tell you and share. Okay, that's great. But when it gets down to showtime, your experience is totally different. So I had no idea she was going to be 36 hours. I was planning to have a water birth with her. So we had the tub ready and everything. Mm-hmm. My thing is, I think I got in too early in the water. Yeah. So I remember first it was my mucus plug, and that's how I realized, okay, I may be going into labor. She was born July 6th. So my friend came in town. She was getting ready to be there for the birth with me. My goddaughters were there, my mother, my father, my husband. And so we took the goddaughters and my husband. We all went to go see some fireworks on the 4th. And then the 5th, slept through the night just fine, had little contractions, but it was okay. It wasn't serious. Mm-hmm. And then early that morning on the 6th, that's when my mucus plug, no water broke yet.
Right.
It was just that part. And then I called my midwife, and she was getting herself prepared with a midwife assistant. And came on over, and they were there the whole entire time. It wasn't like she left and said, okay, I'll be right back. You're not ready yet. So we're just going to go ahead and wait until you come. She stayed the whole entire time with me. And that's what I'm saying. My process was so beautiful. It wasn't a rush job. Mm-hmm. If I had my baby in the hospital, they would have tried to give me a C-section.
I was just going to say, how do you think it would have played out? If you had, and at what point would you have gone into the hospital, do you think? And then, what kind of string of events do you think would have happened if you were there?
For me, there wasn't an option to go into the hospital. I was going to lay for this baby as long as possible until. So, we didn't even discuss that. And I probably should revisit that with my midwife, because we still talk to this day. She actually sends her clients to us to purchase some birth kits from us.
Right.
So she's like family. And I probably need to ask her that, like, what would have been the other option to stop what you're doing and let's go to the hospital because the baby is just not coming down. She eventually came down as soon as I got on the bed. So I got out of the water. The water started getting cold. My family started pulling the boiled water and pouring it into the tub.
You're like, this is what they needed all that water for in the older days.
I know. It was so much going on. And you know what? I think it was the energy around me. I saw my friend's face. She was kind of sad. She walked out of the door. She was crying. My mother was looking sad and distraught. My father over here was looking, everybody's face was just kind of like hopeless, kind of like, I don't know, maybe she didn't make the right decision. The baby is not coming. Because when I remember the midwife told me to put my hand down there and kind of feel the head kind of crowning a little. And for me, I thought she was getting ready to come on through. And she wasn't.
No. And
so I was pushing hard as I could and still nothing. So I felt so exhausted. Yeah. I wanted to give up. I felt exhausted. And so when I saw the faces on everybody, their energy kind of jumped onto me too. And I was just like, okay, I don't know. So she made a decision and said, okay, well, how about the bed? Yeah. I'll let you decide if you want to choose to get on the bed. I said, okay, well, let's try the bed. Got out of the water. Had one more huge big contraction before I got onto the bed. And I would say maybe 15 to 30 minutes later, she was here. And I'm like, that's all I needed to do, little girl.
Right? Yes.
You put mommy through some stuff. So yeah, it was good. But my water broke outside. So we did some walking around, some moving around. You got to do that thing where you dance and stuff, get the baby going. And my water broke. So I actually vomited outside. Yeah. Because I was drinking some smoothies and all kinds of stuff. And so I actually vomited outside. And I think that's when my water broke with it.
Oh my God.
The pressure of me.
That's crazy.
I forgot about that part. I forgot about that.
That's so funny.
So yeah.
That's a beautiful story. So yeah, I mean, I think that what commonly I hear from moms that I have these kinds of conversations with is the folks who go to the hospital. When it comes time where that baby is just not coming, then instead of just moving from one setting to the next setting, because the hospital room really only has the one setting, they just start with the intervention, and then things kind of get off course. So I mean, I've heard that story again and again. I've heard also women tell beautiful stories about their birth in the hospital. I think ultimately my passion, and I'm sure for you too, is letting women know that they can make a choice about what they want, and they are the ones who get to decide, right? They need to kind of have the people around them that are going to support them. And it sounds like you had this magnificent team of support, and that is the key. I mean, that's really going to get you where you want to go.
I agree 100%. The support is definitely one of those major keys that you need when you're having a birth. Support, I mean, hands down. You feel like it's so liberating, and you feel like you can do anything as long as you got that cape on you, with those people helping you put that cape on. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's no doubt. There is no doubt.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you actually put together a product to make kind of an added support for women who have made the decision to do this. And I love it because I actually did. We bought a home birthing kit when we were having our babies, unless we piecemealed from other friends who'd had home births, and they're like, here, I have all these extra Chucks pads, or I have another thing, right? But what you have put together is so beautiful and so exciting. I think that you take this moment when women are experiencing something so precious, and it should be celebrated. And instead of getting this big brown box full of random medical supplies, you're sending this beautiful package that women are going to be so excited to get and feel more confident about their choice, because the way that you put it together is so thoughtful. So Shayla, tell us about what you do and how you started doing it, and then show us, because you showed me already and it's beautiful. I want to read. So tell us. Go.
Okay. So when I had my home birth, right, when I had my first child, so I had a lotus birth. My birth, okay, so when we're talking about support, right, support is key.
Yeah.
So when we talked about having support in our lives,
Yes.
I did not take advantage of that a little. My midwife kept telling me to make sure you contact your support systems to get your birth kit in time. I'm the type of person where I don't like to ask for help. So I waited too late to get my birth kit. So once she was getting here, on her process of getting here, right? Once my mucus plug came, we were rushing, getting sheets together, getting them sterile in the oven, getting towels together. We were just all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
So I did end up ordering it, but I ordered it a little late. So it came later, like during the postpartum treatment. Mm-hmm. And so we just kind of gathered up everything we had at home and made it work. And of course, my midwife had a few items that she brought down with her. Mm-hmm. So that being said, that's where Malawi's House birth supply kit came into play, because during the postpartum treatment, I was looking at my box, and as my midwife was rubbing my belly with some St. John's wort, arnica oil, and I said, you know what? I can do this. I can be a birth supply company here in Atlanta, Georgia for this region. I can do this. I'm not sure if there's any other company out here that's doing that, but I can do it. And she gave me the encouragement and said, you know what, you sure can. Yeah. So that's where I just went on with the brainstorming, came up with the name, came up with some colors and logo for the business and all of that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. But then came with the work. I didn't know what we needed. So she was really like the guiding light for me to help me get the items and the essentials that a midwife would typically need for a basic birth kit. Yeah. So that's what I have here. And so the birth supplies, once you order your birth kit from me, this is what it will come in. Mm-hmm. So it has that in there. And then of course, a little bit of our logo on the top. Mm-hmm. And then we came up with this cool message to help encourage mothers and families to birth life fearlessly. And then we created that and put that on the side of the boxes.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And it's such a little thing, but like that box, you get that and you know what it's for. And you're just taking this experience that's so beautiful and adding a layer of celebration to it. I think it's so important. I love it.
Exactly. Something fun and cool and exciting and cute.
and cute. And you have tools in there for the birth. You also have some postpartum tools in there, correct?
Correct. There are some options in there that can be some postpartum tools. Mm-hmm. So we also sell on the side some affirmation cards that we just created recently. It's only 10, so it's just a little bit, but just some affirmation cards to help empower families to birth life fearlessly. Yeah. And then we have body butters. So there's an option to add some body butters into there. Some of the body butters are infused with essential oils, which I do recommend for mothers to use. And then the other ones, we have some little fun stuff on the side that have fragrances in there. So.
Yay, I love that. Okay, so the cards in particular, we had talked about that a little bit. I just think that's brilliant. Do you have those handy so that we can see those?
Oh, I have a couple here. Yes, I do.
So if you're listening, you can check all of this out at wearemalawishouse.com. She's got the website up. You can order, because you ship anywhere, right, Shayla?
We do. Right now, we're shipping everywhere in domestic. So, yes, in the United States. We're looking to get into the international a little later. Yeah. We are still in the startup phases. We launched officially in April of 2020 on my birthday, actually, April 29th, 2020. So yes, so we are a family business. So we really don't have a lot of manpower to kind of help us with our products just yet. But I have a vision that we will end up growing in the future and having some additional support and help with our business.
I bet you will. People are going to love what you're doing. So let's show us these cards. I think this is brilliant.
So here's the cover of the card. So the cards are for pregnancy, labor, and a little bit of postpartum in there. So during your process, I had affirmation cards that my midwife made for me. And I created the second time around. The first time I did have the affirmations, but I did not have them physically. Second time, she physically made some cards for me. And I was able to create my birth space. And it's like a sacred birth space that we created. And I hung them around the lights of where I was actually going to have my water birth. And it was just amazing this time around. The second time I felt so prepared. I read my affirmations every day. I read them with my husband and just got us prepared. I put them around the house, around my bed, around the crib, and then, like I said before, I put it around the light where I was actually going to have my birth. And I remember the one that stuck into my mind was I breathed to eliminate tension. And so that helped me as I was breathing her out. The first birth was like but the second time around was so peaceful and serene. Yeah. I breathed her out. Yeah. So it kept in mind. That one stuck to me the most. So
these visual tools are so important. When my second child also, I had the best experience with, and I had picked out ahead of time a piece of art that I was going to visualize and focus on, and just all of these little tools that I was using as a piece of the labor itself, and they were so powerful. And this is just
they are.
I love it.
It's amazing. It really does help, and it really works as long as you apply them to yourself. I don't know. Would you like for me to read some of them?
Yeah, show us a few of those. Yeah.
Okay. So I am healthy and I am fruitful. And then at the bottom of each card, it will have our website there at www.wearemalawishouse.com. Mm-hmm. On each of the cards, be still and listen to your body. I'm sorry, be still and listen to your baby.
Oh, right.
Listen to your body too, but listen to your baby. Both can go, right? Yeah. So there is no fear, only awareness. So be aware that there is no fear. There is no fear. Be fearless in this earth. My baby loves my liquid gold. And we're talking about breast milk. And so I forgot to mention in the cover, behind the cover, I have like a little welcome message.
I love it. That's
mother.
Awesome. So I would really encourage you guys, if you're not pregnant right now or thinking about being pregnant or even thinking about having a home birth, these tools are still powerful for friends and family and anyone you know who might be having a baby. I mean, I think just supporting people the best that we can. And one of those ways is, we talked about that postpartum period and you were talking about breastfeeding, and I know that's its own challenge. A lot of times we think, okay, we're done. We have that baby. We're set. Everything's going to be like cake. But I remember that first week with my first, and it was the most difficult period of my life because doing all of these new things, I'm healing. My body is healing. I'm trying to get up and move around and trying to do the normal things and go to the bathroom, right? Like all these things. And then also nursing and taking care of this tiny thing, it was all so new and foreign and hard. And so being a piece of that postpartum recovery and this development of a new relationship and all of that is just really important too. So
it's definitely important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing awareness to that. And those cards, I think, can be a really great tool to help just, and anything you can do for women postpartum, I think is a really powerful thing. We have that baby shower, right? And everybody's happy and excited. And then, sometimes people bring food and that's really good, but I think being aware and kind and helping women through that period after they have a baby is.
Exactly. The postpartum stage is the most important part, I think. Mm-hmm. After all of the smoke clears, it's just you and your baby at home. That's when the real life really sets in. So the postpartum stage is the most important part for me. Of course, caring for your body during pregnancy, but once the baby is here, taking care of yourself is very important. Making sure that you're not doing so much afterwards to where, because the CDC statistics do show that there is a high rate of a lot of us still dying after childbirth because we're not taking care of our bodies or we're not being heard, or, when you're having births in the hospital, it's a lot that goes on there. And a lot of us are not being heard when we're talking about the pain within our bodies. So as a mom, you have to use what's inside of you that's already there, be confident and know that, listen to yourself. Yeah. I know that I'm hurting. I know that. And I know we can be strong, but some days we have to take off that cape and say, you know what, I'm not feeling right today. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, and definitely if you're in the process of doing this. If you're in the process of, childbirth and all of that, then you need to find that community support. If your family is not the one that's going to give you that support, trust your instinct and your intuition and find a group of people that are going to give you that kind of, and there's so many women who've gone through home birthing in lots of communities in local areas and online that you can find. And if your doctor isn't listening to you, then try out another doctor, try out another midwife, ask around, because one may not give you the answers you want, but that's okay, because you can look and find people who are going to listen and hear you. So,
Exactly.
Well, Shayla, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to share with folks before we end our call today?
I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity for me to just share with my baby, Malali's house. So just thank you so much for this, for using your platform to do that. I really appreciate it. And if you are pregnant out there, to just birth life fearlessly.
Yay! Oh, it's beautiful. I love that so much.
Thank you so
Shayla,
much
for all the work you're doing. It's so important. And all you moms out there, if you've done it, good job. No matter what your birth looked like, you're amazing and you're powerful.
That's right.
So just keep doing the thing that you're doing. And yeah, that's it. Everybody have a really great day. We'll talk again soon.